Happy Wednesday, everyone. We got a fun little core, endurance, strength, mix and match, upper, lower, upper. It's going to be a good day today. We'll just say that. We got some endurance strength coming your way. It's going to have a different feel to the other past 2 weeks, but very similar concept and very similar time frame. So before we get to that, let's talk about the warm-up. We have a plank lean for 10 to 20 alternating reps at 1 to 2 second holds per side. Front scale raise for 5 a side into a single leg RDL for 3 to 5 a side, and then a foot assisted pistol for 3 to 5 a side as well, finishing off with a plank to down dog with toe touch. You're going to hit that anywhere from 2 to 3 rounds, just warming things up, getting a good flow going. If, though, you would like to substitute some of the movements you're about to see in the workout portion in there as you move through those rounds, warming up your goblet squat, warming up a few things like your lunge, who knows, please do so. We are doing quite a few single leg ventures in here, but if you'd like to practice the initial lunge itself, please do so. Add those in, make that warm up yours to get you ready for this work set. But our first work set today, they're all couplets. They're all little mini couplets for you guys today. We have 5 rounds. You're going to do 20 seconds of goblet squat. So again, max reps in 20 seconds. But we're looking for that balance between speed and quality. So pushing the pace a little bit, but working for that good quality squat. Right after that 20 seconds of squatting, you're going to go right into that march, that standing march. So it's going to be steady state flow, back and forth. For the march, I don't mind where you hold the dumbbell. If you want to just keep it goblet and keep it going, you can. But it might not be a bad idea just to change positions besides holding the goblet position for 5 minutes straight. So please keep that in mind. Our goal here is to take this chunk of work down with no rest. So it's just kind of a nice steady flow from squat to standing march to squat to standing march. So you're going to take those things down nice and steady. And then you'll get a rest. All right? So you got 5 rounds of that. Then you'll get a minute of rest, which is just going to be a chance to go, whoo! And then you're going to transition into some non-loaded movements for the upper body and core. So what you're going to do is 3 rounds, 2 less rounds than the lower body stuff. You're going to do a plank alternating reach for 20 seconds, and I'll walk you through what that's going to look like. And then a forearm plank for 40 seconds. And then go right back into that alternating reach, and then forearm plank. We'll talk about varying degrees of ways to do the forearm plank for that time frame. But again, if you need to come out of it and give yourself a rest because your position is starting to fail, that's fine. Rest as you need to, but then try and get right back into that plank alternating reach whenever the time frame is done. All right? So we have 3 rounds of that upper body piece. Then you're going to get a minute rest, and then you're going to move into 5 more rounds of a lower body piece, which again is going to be 20 seconds of lunging into 40 seconds of side lunging. You can load the lunge, or you can use this as a complete empty loaded movement set and just body weight for both those movements, and just try and stay moving back and forth with the lunge, side to side, steady, whatever pace you can go for 5 minutes straight. So it is going to get burny, but I want you to find a pace and a movement strategy that can work for you to keep you moving for that entire time. Let's warm you up. Let's get you ready. Let's have some fun today. All right, you guys, let's warm up. Let's get those feet under those hips. Let's just take those arms big and tall up overhead. We'll reach it to one side. Then we'll come back through, reach to the other side. We're going to come back up. We're going to scratch our back and then reach through the elbow. Come back up, big stretch. Scratch your back and reach through the elbow. We'll come back up, big stretch. Hands out to the T, we're going to turn them in. Yeah, turn them out, nice little pop there. Turn them in. You guys probably couldn't hear that, but I felt that. Ooh. One more time, turn them in and turn them out. Big stretch, we're going to reach it and reach it. Oh, and forward fold, touch those toes. I'm going to walk those shins. Come down, frame of foot. You're going to step it back into your lizard. Inside hand's going to lock the legs. We're going to turn the torso, just opening up those hips a bit. We're going to come back to center, lower the back knee, press the hip, and come back to center, and press the hip, back to center, and press the hip, and back to center. Straighten the leg, lock the leg legs in, turn the torso, come back through, take the hand that's on the foot up to the sky, and I'll get one rotation. Just range it through here. Come back up, plant that hand. We're gonna step back into your down dog. Nice set shoulder position. Open up that upper back and come back into that plank. We're gonna step that foot up, lock that front foot down with that hand. We're gonna turn the torso. We'll come back to center, lower the knee, press the hip, come back to center, press the hip, back to center, and press the hip, back to center, straighten the leg, turn, come back through, hand on the front foot, reach it up, rotate, come back up, plant that hand, we'll step back into that nice down dog, reach those hips, come back into your plank, we're gonna tiptoe those feet all the way up. We're gonna roll ourselves up, big stretch overhead, big reach, and reach. Come back down with those hands. Let's rock and roll, you guys. Let's get you ready to go. If you'd like to do some more gentle kind of movements, be it wrist work, some cat-cow, some thread the needles, more lizard, all right, take it down, pause the video, do that for yourself, and then come back and join me. I'm gonna start you off with this nice little work set today. So what we got going on for you guys is a plank lean, and I'm gonna start facing forward so you guys can see that initiation through those shoulders. So I get myself established in that good plank first. So I'm gonna pull my ribs and hips in, I'm gonna press my shoulders to the ceiling, and my shoulders stay over my hands the entire time. I'm gonna lean, initiating through the shoulder, keeping everything square, and then I come back to center and lean to the other side. I'm gonna hold for a second or two per lean. So each shift, I wanna hold for a second or two, and if I need to, in between those reps, I can reestablish that shoulder position and take that down. The big thing here is, if I'm in my plank right now, I wanna make sure that when I shift, everything moves together. It's not a hips shifting, everything shifts together as one piece. So stabilized by the toes and initiated from the shoulders. So really focus on that good tight core and really work on maintaining that strong shoulder. From there, we get to stand up. We get to work on our front scale raise. So we're gonna take a break from the upper body and kind of give our lower body a little taste of some movement. So I'm gonna find my balancing leg and try and keep my weight mid-foot, but all my toes on the floor. I'm gonna point my other toe forward, keeping this leg super straight. I'm gonna squeeze my glutes, and I'm going to lift and come back down with that leg. And lift, come back down with that leg. So if you'd like to make this a little more challenging, I offer this out to you guys, and lift, hold for a beat, lower back down with control, or a 3-second eccentric. So that lift, little pause, 3, 2, 1, down. So that's just gonna show a little bit more control in that front scale and a little bit more balance required to maintain that position. Right after those front scales, 5 per side, we're gonna move into our single leg RDL. And you can actually load these if you like or not, but one toe is gonna go behind the heel. I'm gonna set myself up nice and square so my balance is kind of localized on that one foot. I'm gonna squeeze my hands together holding the dumbbell or the imaginary dumbbell. And I'm gonna pull my hips back into that nice deadlift hinge. Bringing my hands to my knee or just below my knee, and then standing tall through the leg. Squeezing and coming to that opening position, and then do it again. I like to add a nice little tempo to these or go pretty slow so I can really work on my balance and my positioning and weight in my foot. So it's not there, but I highly endorse the 3 to 5 second tempo down just so you can really work that balance. Now if you'd like to add in an extra challenge to that, you can play with this a little bit and let this back leg hover away from the floor a bit. You'll notice though I'm not trying to lift the leg up super high. I'm just keeping it off the ground. Still pulling my hip back into that nice hinge, except I'm going to be working on a little bit more stability, work through the knee and the ankle as I work that balance. Only do that if you can really find that glute and hamstring engagement. The toe down is a great exercise to help find and isolate that glute and hamstring, and that's what we're after today in terms of kind of waking that up for everything to come. So if you lift your leg and all of a sudden it turns into a forward kind of fold, right, or a back scale, we want to make sure we come back down with that foot on the floor so we can find our glute and hamstring. After our single leg RDL, we have our foot assisted pistol. So what we have, again, my foot that I'm going to pistol on is going to be flat. My weight's through my midfoot, but all my toes are down on the floor. This toe is going to be close-ish to my heel, and I'm going to take my hip to my heel as I slowly lower down into that good squat. My weight is over this balancing leg, and I'm going to push through that balancing leg, driving up to that standing position. The big thing here is just making sure that I'm not using that back leg too much to assist. It's just there to get you through the sticking point, but also not going too far back, because then it turns into a lunge. So we want to make sure we keep that toe pretty close. And if you want to make it a little harder, we can actually tuck that toe and that foot on the ankle, and that's going to create one less point of stability, and it's going to create a little bit more balance necessary. But first things first, work on range of motion and control before you take away that extra foot. After we're done the foot-assisted pistols, 3 to 5 per side, we're going to get into our plank. And I'm going to get my hands under my shoulders, my feet back into my good plank position, tucking and pressing. I'm going to pull my hips back and up into that down dog. I'm going to stabilize through my shoulders, so my armpits are going to roll away from each other. They're going to roll and face my legs. Then I'm going to touch a toe, or reach for a toe, and reach for a toe. Setting that position again, come back into my plank, pulling those ribs and hips in, pressing those shoulders to the sky, and then finding that down dog again. So really working on that good overhead position, armpits towards the toes, nice balance between the hands and the floor, setting the shoulder before I take the hand off the floor, and then making sure I'm ready to work on that toe touch or toe reach. Don't worry if you can't touch your toe, just work on that reach towards that toe, all right? Big thing here, always focus on that good strong arm position before we take that hand away, so stabilize the shoulder, touch, get that arm engaged, other hand, touch the toe, and then come back up. Quick little recap for you guys, we have a plank lean, 10 to 20 total reps, 1 to 2 second hold per side, front scale raise for 5 a side, single leg RDL, 3 to 5 a side, foot assisted pistol, 3 to 5 a side, and a plank to down dog with toe touch for 3 to 5 reps. Taking your time through that, you guys, if you want to add a tempo into any of that stuff, please do so. Tempos can be very valuable, especially in the warm-up phase of your day. So take your time, take that down, rock it 2 to 3 rounds. Pause the video, take that down. We're going to move into our first work set, which is going to be that goblet squat and our dumbbell standing march. So I'm going to grab my dumbbell here, because I'm going to get up close and personal with this dumbbell for the next 5 minutes. So my feet are going to be in my regular squat stance, so just outside my hips to shoulders. The dumbbell is going to come underneath of my chin, and if you wanted to do this unloaded, you could do this just air squats for the 20 seconds as well. So I'm going to hold on to that nice dumbbell, keeping it close. I'm going to take my hips to my heels, knees tracking the toes, keeping that chest upright, and then pushing through those legs so the hips and shoulders rise as one. So again, I take the hips to the heels, staying upright, standing tall, and I work that good squat mechanic. Now once my 20 seconds of squats are done, I'm going to go into a standing march. So I can choose to hold the dumbbell like so in the goblet. I can choose to turn it and just pin it against my body, which will give my hands a little bit of a break. I can do a front rack, or I can do a suitcase. Whatever you'd like to do for you today. I am quite partial to that Zercher style, so just pressing it in against the shoulders, and then you're going to work on that nice march. And I want you to think about squeezing your glutes so that we keep everything nice and square and stable through the hips, and just lifting that knee up to where you can without losing balance or tucking under into that balancing leg. So that balancing leg, we want to make sure is nice and strong and and we are balancing nice and solid the entire time we're lifting those legs up. So I'm good with wherever you want to hold that dumbbell. Like I say, you might want to change it up from the goblet position, or else you'll be holding that goblet position for the entire 5 minutes. From there, you're going to go right back into that goblet squat. So you're just going to go whoop and just start squatting right away and working on that balance between speed and quality squats. So pushing that pace, but also making sure we're backing it off and working on good quality squatting. Quick recap for that, you guys. We got 5 rounds, 20 seconds, goblet squat, air squat, squatting to a target, whatever you want to do there. Right into 40 seconds of dumbbell standing march, and then repeat, 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 5 rounds. Once you're done your 5th round of standing march, you'll get a minute of rest, and then you're going to move into the next phase that's coming your way. So pause the video, take that down nice and strong, and then come back to me if you'd like, or watch ahead and get all 3 movement sets, and then start that work set. Our next work set is our upper body piece. So we're going to work through a plank alternating reach for 20 seconds. And that is getting set up in your plank. We're going to work that lean. So we get the lean, and then we're going to reach the arm straight ahead. Reach the arm straight ahead. And what I'm trying to do here is keep my shoulders stable and square to the floor. So I'm trying to stay nice and square opposed to opening up to the side as I reach my arm, okay? So from the side, what that looks like, I get myself set, tucking and squeeze, reach, reach, armpit points down towards the floor, and work that. Now, you can do that also from your knee plank, all right? So that's totally fine as well. On the other side of things too, if you can't quite get all the way straight with the arm, even with the shoulder, just lift it to where you can. So if I'm going through this and I'm like, I don't have a lot of height, yeah. Okay, there it is, yeah. Just take it to where you feel balanced and you feel challenged, all right? Don't feel you have to go straight out from your shoulder if you can't quite hold that single arm plank for that long. Another side you can play with is separating your feet just a little bit, so that's a little wider plank, and that will help you balance and stay squarer in that upper body. So the tighter your feet are, the more challenging it's going to be to stay balanced as you take that foot away, or sorry, that hand away. If you walk your feet out, even with your hips, or even just outside your hips, that will definitely help you stay balanced and square. Now, you're going to work on that for 20 seconds, then you're going to lower down into your forearm plank. And I'm going to get myself set up, step back, my hips are level with my shoulders, and I'm going to pull my ribs and hips in, pressing through my forearms the whole time, and I'm just going to hold this for 40 seconds. This is going to get tough. So if you're holding this fully and you're like, I got to take a break, you have a choice of dropping down to your knees first before you actually take the break, and then hold the remaining time from your knee forearm plank, and then continuing on from there. Now, if the forearm plank is like, wow, that is super tough, I need to start on my knees, that's okay. You can start in that full toe plank, set your hollow, drop your knees down to the floor, and then hold the knee plank from the beginning, and that's totally fine, all right? I want you to really focus on maintaining that good pressure through the shoulders and that engagement through the ribs and the hips as we pull those in to stabilize that spine and the hips. So whatever position you need to work through, please do so, all right? And if you have to rest on that one, I would rather see you rest than all of a sudden be sinking in your shoulders or down through your mid-back and losing position, all right? So really focus in on that. Take the time, if you need to rest before we move back into that plank. It's only 3 rounds. It's done faster than the lower body pieces, but that stuff takes a punch. It takes a hit hard, so be prepared. Then, once you've done that plank alternating reach for 20 seconds, forearm plank for 40 seconds, 3 times, you'll get a minute rest, and then you're going to move into this next phase for 5 rounds, which is going to be your last lower body piece, which we're going to work with is the lunge. So we're going to lunge for 20 seconds, and we're going to side lunge for 40 seconds. And you can take this at whatever pace you want. and you can do whatever style of lunge you'd like. So with the lunge, we're going to stand nice and tall, engage our glutes, and we're either going to step forward and down, okay? Or we're going to step back and down, working on keeping that front knee over top of the heel, that torso nice and tall so the shoulder, hip, and knee are all stacked on top of each other, and we're trying to stay as upright as we can in our lunge. You can load this goblet style, front rack style, suitcase style, all right, if you'd like. Nothing wrong with that at all if you'd like to load the lunge. You can also do step-ups in place of the lunge and work on that single leg balance that way. And I'm also opening it up to your single leg RDL if you'd like to work on that. 10 seconds one side, 10 seconds on the other side. So there's a couple different options there for you guys with the lunge. But if you'd like to play with it loaded, be my guest. Take it down, have some fun. You have 20 seconds worth of lunges. Then you're gonna move seamlessly into your side lunge. So you're gonna go from that forward, back and forth kind of motion to a nice wide stance. And then you're gonna think squat. So you're gonna take that hip down towards the heel, so the chest stays tall and upright, the knee tracks the toe, and come back, opening the hips, coming back down, again, knee tracks the toe, chest is upright and tall. These are a little slower than your front lunge or back lunge, so I want you to just take the time, not worrying about fast reps, but just worry about trying to move well and smooth. Maybe add a tempo in there to the side lunge, maybe a little pause in the bottom so that we can work on that positioning and work on opening up the hips and ankles. So you have 40 seconds of that, then you'll come back in, you'll work through your forward or your back lunges for 20 seconds, and then you're gonna take that down for 5 rounds. Trying not to rest in between those rounds, try and keep it steady and at a pace you can move well with. Now, quick little recap on that whole sequence. So 3, 2, 1, go. 5 rounds of goblet squat for 20 seconds, dumbbell standing march for 40 seconds. Once you've done your 5 rounds of that, you'll rest for a minute, and then you'll move right into 3 rounds. Plank alternating reach for 20 seconds, dynamic, forearm plank 40 seconds. Then you'll do 3 rounds of that, rest 60 seconds, then you do 5 rounds of 20 seconds of lunging, 40 seconds of side lunging, rest and done. All right, so it's gonna be pretty steady state flow once you get going, but there are moments of rest in between. Remember everyone, we're trying to balance that idea of intensity and quality. I want you to think about pushing to that edge, working for those good solid reps, but always thinking quality movement in there at all times. So that means perhaps maybe trying to go quick and then pulling back a bit to slow things down to get some reps back in good form, and then picking up the speed again perhaps, or just settling into a nice smooth pace that just keeps you moving for those rounds. Have fun with this one, you guys. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know how it goes. Let me know what you use, either goblet, front rack for what those different pieces, and let me know how all that work goes. Super pumped to hear about this one, you guys. I like this stuff because it's not just a physical test, it's also a mental test as well as you pay attention to that movement and think about that pacing. Have a great day. We got a couple big birthdays coming your way tomorrow and Friday, so stay tuned for those. But until then, have a great day. We'll see you super soon. Bye, you guys.